Hi everyone, my name's Daisy, and welcome to my stream. Today we're going to be talking about what happens to a streamer's identity when they stream, what happens to audiences who watch those streams, and finally the sort of effects and ramifications of that relationship. You've got a very authentic version of me here, and you can interact with that. You can go into the chat, you can say hi, you can give a little wave like Astra's done right there, That's the power of streaming. And that's not something that you've seen with a lot of forms of media beforehand. It's not like a podcast or a YouTube video down to television or radio. There's not much of that viewer interaction. Sure, there's like call-in radio, but that's about it. So it makes streaming a really delicate thing to talk about because you have to use all of that context beforehand, but there's an added layer of parasociality around it. First things first, before we play, I want to talk about what happens to streamers' identities when they play video games. Because obviously, already my identity's changed if you know me. I'm being a lot more performative. I'm speaking a little bit more clearly because I have to. I'm on a stream. But also, I'm playing a video game right now. I'm playing Hearthstone. Hearthstone has a lot of ways to reflect your own identity within the game. There are, first of all, things like hero skins. So if I click onto Hearthstone right now, you'll see, oh hey, I'm playing Hunter, but I've got this big dwarven guy here who have some voice lines that we'll explore in the game. And there's also a class system. So you can pick from one of, I believe it's now 11 classes, and all of these classes have different play styles. So Hunter, for example, wild animals answer your call as you lay down traps and strike down your prey. What does this tell us about Hunter players? And it's a lot. There's a lot that it tells us. Direct damage, beasts, these are aggressive strategies. These aren't strategies where you sit back and you wait and you try and control the game. No, these are strategies where you're playing everything you can early on. Exactly, Lily. You go face. But there's something interesting that happens when streamers have an identity with a certain class in Hearthstone, for example. But this goes to like many games, right? They become known for a certain strategy or a certain kind of play. Some people might be known as jack of all trades. Some people might be known as, hey, I'm a one trick, right? I only play this one class and I'm really good at it, and that's why people watch me. So it impacts how they act as well through that lens. And it makes it very hard when streamers have developed this identity to actually break out of it, right? You see it when they change. The biggest thing is when they change games, because that's not just one aspect of their personality. That's the whole reason a lot of people tune into streams is to see them play a specific game, the game that they like. When streamers switch streams, you can see drops of up to like 70% viewers. And then you go into the audience, because you can see there already the streamer's identity is sort of being controlled, is maybe a bit too strong of a word, but it's definitely being influenced by the audience there. And that's one of the key differences in streaming and other media platforms, right? If you're a successful streamer, especially if your livelihood is based on streaming, you have to appease the audience, otherwise your livelihood is gone. Parasocial relationship started out as a, hey, it's the 1950s, television has just come into they become accessible, right, for people in their own houses. And all of a sudden, psychologists are thinking, hang on a minute, this is having an influence on people. People on television can prompt reactions from viewers at home. Think of like a laugh track on a sitcom, for example. It's there to prompt a laugh from audiences, even if they're not in that studio. But yeah, parasocial relationships were always understood as one-sided. And now with streaming, you're starting to see, okay, maybe it's not as one-sided. Maybe there's another kind of side to this that we haven't been talking about. The relationship between audiences and streamers is something that's very fascinating because that can have a lot of ramifications. Some of them can be positive, right? I don't want to just go in with a very negative lens. Communities that could be built under streamers could, save people's lives in some situations. They could be the community that they've needed. And the community is so easily fostered. If you want to form a community around a television show, the television show has something to do with it, really. It's a lot more about how the audience reacts to that and they go and do it on their own. Right, the streamer can be very active in actually forming good communities that can help people. But there are obviously dangers to that too. And that's also worth thinking about and talking about. You see it with swatting. This phenomenon where people, for whatever reason, it might be a bad prank, but they just think it's going to be funny, or they might have some motivations that are kind of hateful. It's so harmful. It is so immensely harmful. And it's an example of how that 1.5-sided parasocial relationship goes a bit too far. You know, no one should ever have a situation where police are smashing down their door and pointing guns at them. Trying to answer that bad is very difficult without harming the good. Because the streamer has autonomy, right? The streamer does have a level of autonomy. I can ban any of you if I want to, unmute you in my chat. I have the ability to control the discussion through at least a couple lenses. But that's not nearly enough when you consider that there are multiple channels in which people view streams. There's an entanglement there of media. You're not just looking at, oh, there's a community on Twitch stream, but that community becomes a Discord server. It becomes a bunch of Twitter followers. While streamers can control what happens on their platform to an extent, they can control what happens on Twitch, they cannot control what happens on those platforms. And that allows negativity to sort of manifest. Swatting is often used. There's a case study that I've been studying on the stream queens. And over 2021-2022, they were getting swatted because they were drag queens. That's not a reason why anyone should be getting that kind of abuse, right? Why am I British? Why am I British? It's a great question. Not one I can really answer. I mean, I was born in Britain, so that'll do it, really. I'm describing it as if Twitch could just like wiggle their finger and audiences would stop being this parasocial about people. That's not going to happen. But there are steps that they can take that they're not taking. I do think it's good to have these conversations with audiences as they are audiences, right? I think I'm glad that some of you have talked about how you've enjoyed this discussion. It's good that there's some learning here, there's a back and forth. That's kind of what I want, is to, because these kind of 1.5-sided parasocial relationships can be used for a lot of good, right? To be able to actually interact with audiences, to prompt them to think about what they're watching. That Twitch has that power as a platform. And now you see also there's audience interactions. Like right now, if you're looking at chat, there's an audience interaction on whether or not I made the right play or not. And that's also really cool. But hey, yeah, like you talked about with the druid class identity, being very passive, not ever attacking, right? That also gives people an opinion on, you know, there might be people who play Hearthstone. They play against Hunter players. They don't like Hunter players. They're sick of their going all face shenanigans. Maybe that druid player now is gonna like learn to hate Hunter because of what I just did to them. And then they find my stream where I'm playing Hunter, right? And they can come and talk about whatever they want to me. They can come and trash talk me in my chat, and there's nothing I can really do. Yeah, 100%, 100% scribble. Yes, yeah. There's a big difference in cozy, comfy, high, here to chill and play streams, and hey, we're top 10 legend. We're gonna try and get rank 1 today. Yeah, very, very, very different kinds of streamers, right? And those are going to attract different audiences, and those audiences are going to stream those. But yeah, there's completely different vibes of streams, and again, there's going to be audiences that are attracted to those for good. They're like, oh yep, that stream suits me. But there's also going to be audiences that are attracted to those streams for more like, oh, I hate this kind of person, I want to go hate watch. You know, hate watching is an actual thing that people do. It's something that streamers have to deal with, you know? If you're loudly an identity that people don't like, whether it's, you know, you're a prominent feminist, whether you're queer, whether you're black, right? Like, those streamers, unfortunately, just get hate because of that. But it's a very difficult sort of landscape to handle when people are so easily accessible. Because, again, like, our whole notion of what a celebrity is changes. Because we know celebrities as, like, untouchable, million, billion, gazillionaire like rock stars, you know? Like I'm never gonna meet Brad Pitt and actually get to have a normal conversation with him because he's just so high up the echelon, right? We just know them as part of the bourgeoisie. Whereas like when I look at, hey, it's Ludwig, I could imagine myself training out and hanging out with Ludwig. I'm hoping the stream has helped to sort of like talk about these issues and to, you know, it's been a bit disorganized, but as any stream is, it's improvisational by nature. I can't get a script and read off that, right? We have to have an actual conversation, you know, with me in my chat. I think we've covered a lot of good stuff. We've talked a lot about parasocial relationships, how identity changes, what that identity means to audiences, and how they react to that identity, both positive and negative ways. And I've also managed to maintain my rank in Hearthstone whilst doing that. So that's pretty cool. Thanks to everyone for coming along, and yeah, I'll see you all around hopefully. Bye bye.